A story we had promised you earlier, the African Union heads of state and governments have begun a closed-door session that sources say could adopt a decision to have the entire African continent bring pressure on the United Nations Security Council to have the ICC cases against President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto dropped. KTN's Noah Otieno now joins us with the details to this story from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Now, the 21st ordinary session of the Assembly of the African Union is currently ongoing in a closed-door session inside this hall behind me. And my sources tell me that today it is going to be a very, very interesting day inside that closed-door discussion by the African Union heads of states and governments. Why? Because the item of the ICC trials against President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto is on the agenda, and it is one of the hottest items on that agenda. Sources tell me that the African Union countries are very determined to push the United Nations Security Council to have the ICC drop the ICC cases against Uhuru and Ruto. In fact, unconfirmed reports that I'm yet to confirm, but that I've already received this morning, is that Uganda and Kenya are even prepared to use leverage to arm twist the United Nations into conceding to having the ICC drop the charges against Uhuru. And what is this leverage? We are told that Uganda and Kenya could be prepared to pull their troops outside Somalia, to pull their troops from the AMISOM forces that are trying to fight back the Al-Shabaab in Somalia. But remember that the Somalia issue is a very, very sensitive issue, especially for the United States of America. Why? Because the United States of America is trying to get rid of those spots that the terrorists are using across the world to train and also to launch attacks against the U.S. and U.S. interests. So if the Kenyan state and Ugandan state use Somalia as leverage to force the ICC issue, then matters could change very, very drastically. But the United States Secretary of State John Kerry is also in that closed-door meeting, and we are told that he was set to address that meeting, and that could be the reason why the session is closed, because early in the morning we were informed that the opening session would be open to the media, but we were not allowed in. It was a closed session because what sources tell me is that John Kerry was supposed to address this discussion, and the message that he has could be a very, very sensitive one, not just for John Kerry and the United States of America, but also for the African Union states. So we are digging, we're trying to find out what is going on inside that closed-door meeting. And according to the program, the rest of the day could be a closed-door session, but tomorrow at 11 there will be a communique from the African Union countries. At least in a diplomatic language, they will be telling us what they have agreed in this 21st ordinary session of the meeting. At least according to our sources, they are going to adopt the decision by the Executive Council that is going to push for the ICC to stop the cases against Uhuru and Ruto. For us, this is the biggest story that could emerge from here either tonight or by latest tomorrow morning. My name is Noah Otieno, and I'm coming to you from the African Union headquarters here in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia.